This video is about our recent cruise to New Orleans and our visit one of the evenings to a jazz club, the Palm Court. So if you'd like to learn more, watch on. Hello, I'm Mama Jane's husband and this is...
Must be Mama Jane.
And we recently visited the Palm Court Jazz Club while cruising to New Orleans with P&O. And we had a really memorable night, didn't we, Mama Jane? So P&O, like I said, organised this shore excursion. And we had two buses going to the Palm Court, and they booked the whole jazz club for the night. So it was only us who were there, weren't it? And it's not a far journey.
No, a few minutes.
And we it's in the French Quarter. And
we had actually passed it.
We passed
when
it
we were walking
in the day.
around the French Quarter in the day. Yeah.
And the Palm Court is a well-known jazz cafe club in New Orleans. You can look it up on the internet and find it and see it yourself. And when we got there, we queued as we went in, and we were greeted by the owner. Now, the owner is quite a character, isn't
she is
Mama
a character. She, I'm desperately trying to remember her name. She's well known in the area. She must, I don't know her age. I couldn't tell you her
She
age.
could be prehistoric.
She is exceedingly old, but very, what can I say? Well, she could dance the nights away, and indeed she did. And she's just quite,
She's a one-off.
She's a one-off eccentric person. Lovely, and made us all feel as if we were the only people there that night, and we were all her friends that she'd known forever and just wanted us to have a nice time. Now, let me just say one thing about Palm Court. In England, if you think of Palm Court, you think of something very Victorian and tranquil and Palm Court Orchestra. Forget that. Do not think that, because the Palm Court in New Orleans is just quite wild.
So when we got in and we'd been greeted by, I think she was called Nina.
Nina, that's right. She was called Nina.
We sat down, and soon the waiters came around, and we decided to have a hurricane cocktail. Hurricane cocktails were invented in New Orleans, and we decided we'd have an authentic New Orleans cocktail.
We have to.
And the food was authentic New Orleans as well, which we really enjoyed. Now, if you're a bit picky, don't worry, because I'm a very picky eater, and I was fine with the food. There's a couple of options on the menu, and there was no real problem. And it all went down with a couple of hurricane cocktails.
It did. And like it's all very slick. This place is used to doing this sort of thing. So although it's open to the public normally, every now and then it's closed to the public, and the notice in the window said, closed this evening for private party. That was us. So it's very well run. The orchestra, they were absolutely marvellous. It was just...
They did 3 sets.
Yeah, 3 sets. It was just an amazing evening. Even you don't even have to be a jazz lover.
Sometimes when you hear modern jazz, it seems all a bit disjointed.
Yeah.
Whereas this was just, it just flowed beautifully.
It was amazing.
Yes, there were lots of solos and everything.
Yeah.
But it had a real oomph to it.
It wasn't modern jazz. It was
old time jazz. I fell in love with it. I have to say, absolutely fell in love with it.
Yeah. The waiters were all lovely, and as I say, it was very, very slick. Well done.
Yeah, it was really well done, and we had a fab night. And I have to say, P&O did a good job in sort of supporting the experience of visiting New Orleans, because while we were crossing the Atlantic, there were several sort of lectures about the history of jazz, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So that was really good that P&O had done these enrichment talks about jazz, because we learned a lot about jazz, and it really helped then when we visit New Orleans.
Yeah.
And also they put on a few jazz concerts on board as well, using the Headliners Orchestra. They played jazz up in the Crow's Nest on a few evenings, and also they had a hybrid band between Pulse and the Headliners, and they did a couple of jazz evenings as well. So P&O did a really good job, I think, of sort of enriching our jazz experience, and we learned a lot about jazz and the different types of jazz and everything. So well done to P&O there. And what was a fabulous evening, which doesn't really translate into words, because it was quite
the
lyrical experience.
Yeah.
But top tip, if you are visiting New Orleans on a cruise, or you're going to New Orleans, and there's a shore excursion to go to the jazz club, book it, Daniel, as soon as you can, because it was massively oversubscribed.
There were other things you could have gone on, like a paddleboat steamer, which we did go on, but some were paddleboat steamer and a meal
in the
and
evening.
Jazz in the evening. Now, I can't comment on that. The people I know went on it said it was good, but I don't know. So, but I can only tell you about what we experienced. And as I always say, it's only our view.
But everybody seemed to have a marvellous
Well, and in fact, the table we were sat at, two of the couples had been before.
Yeah.
Now, you don't go back a second time paying good money if it were rubbish. that's my view anyway. You know, it's...
I would say it's one of my favourite shore excursions of all time.
I would say, yeah.
So, on that note, it's a goodbye from...
me.
And it's a goodbye from...
him.
Goodbye.